Welcome everyone. My name is Leigh. I'll be taking through your Vinyasa class this morning with the help of Sasha. So let's begin. So please come to a comfortable kneeling position. And if you like to sit on a block or any other prop, we'll just bring the hands onto the thighs. We'll just close down the eyes here. And just take a few moments to arrive in your body. Make any physical adjustments that you need just before you settle into your stillness. And just notice as the eyes are closed, how you tune into your other senses. And starting to become aware of what you can hear around you. Hearing different sounds as they come and they go. But paying attention to no particular sound. And start to become aware of what you can feel around you. Maybe it's the skin that touches your clothes. The skin that touches the earth. Or even the skin on your face. And then finally start to pay some attention to your breath and the quality of your breath. Notice how it naturally starts to slow here. And let's synchronize our breathing here. So wherever you are, let's take a deep breath into the belly. At the top of the inhale, parting the lips, take a deep breath out to the mouth. Again, taking a deep breath into the belly. And parting the lips, taking a deep breath out to the mouth, shoulders relax away from the ears. One more time, full breath in. Ujjayi breath out. And just keep continuing this breathing here, and allowing the breath to anchor your mind. And then on the next inhale, bring the hands to heart center in prayer pose. Exhaling, interlacing the hands, pressing the palms forward, rounding through the spine. And inhaling, lifting the arms up. Exhaling, releasing the fingers, palms by the side. Breath in, hands to heart center. Breath out, press the palms forward as you stretch across the shoulder blades. Breath in, arching through the spine, opening through the chest. Breath out, hands come down. One more time, full breath in. Full breath out. Inhaling to reach all the way up. And hands come back by the side. And please make your way into a downward facing dog. And once you arrive, just stretching it out here. So maybe you pedal out the feet left and right. Just making any physical adjustments that you need. And then eventually finding some stillness in your downward facing dog. So spreading the palms wide onto the mat, and then extending all 10 fingers towards the top of your mat. Maybe a slight micro bend at the knees as you take the tailbone up and back. And then we want to roll the shoulders away from the ears. So imagine you're opening a jam jar with the palm of your hands. And squeezing the belly button up in towards the spine. We're going to rise high up onto the toes, take a deep bend into the knees, hips move back into space. And then we're going to open back up, downward facing dog. Again, rising high up onto the toes, take a deep bend into the knees. Open back up, downward facing dog. Heels soften towards the mat. Last time, rising high up onto the toes, take a deep bend, look forward, press forward, plank pose. And then pressing back to a downward facing dog. And walking the hands back towards the feet. And soft knees once you arrive, maybe taking a hold of the elbows. And just ragdolling here, so swaying from side to side, nodding the head yes, and shaking the head no. And just allowing gravity to do the work for you here. And then bring the hands back down onto the mat. And like a panther in the jungle, start to walk your hands forward into a plank pose. And bring the wrists underneath the shoulders here. And see if you can try to draw the chest through the arms here. Shoulders draw down the back. Now naturally the back wants to arch. So can you counter that arch by squeezing the belly button back in towards the spine. And holding for a full round of breath here. And dropping the knees down onto the mat. And lowering all the way down onto the belly here. And taking the arms out wide, cactusing the arms. And coming up onto the fingertips, elbows point up towards the ceiling. We're going to move through some striking cobras. So as you inhale, press through the fingers, start to roll up the spine. And then exhaling, lowering the belly down, the chest comes down, the forehead comes all the way down. And inhaling to lift up. And exhaling to lower down. We're going to mix up a little bit, inhaling to lift up. This time the right shoulder, the right cheek find the mat. And coming back through to center. On left side. And inhaling to lift up. And exhaling to lower all the way down. Hands by the sides of the ribs. And pressing back onto the knees. And back into downward facing dog. We'll bring the feet together. Rising high up into the toes. Right leg's going to lift towards the sky. Three-legged dog. And as you exhale, start to draw the knee in towards the chest. The shoulders land over the wrist for a hover. And taking the leg up and back, three-legged dog. Really smooth movements here. And drawing the knee in on the exhale breath. Three-legged dog. Last time, drawing the knee in. And taking the leg up and back, bending the knee, yawning the hips open here. And start to stretch across the front of your pelvis. And as if coming into wild thing, we're going to take the leg over the back, but we're going to lower the hips all the way down onto the mat. So it's okay if you land off your mat. We're going to sweep our right arm behind us. Left arm is going to hook to the outside of our right leg. And inhaling to lengthen, and exhaling to twist. We're not trying to crush the air out of our lungs, just a really loose twist. Inhaling to lengthen. And exhaling to twist just a little bit deeper. Last time, full breath in. Full breath out. And turning the gaze back, left arm sweeps to the top of the mat. Right arm reaches up. So as we inhale, we're going to lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Roll onto the blade of your left foot. And then exhaling to lower the hips down to a hover. Inhaling to lift up. Roll onto the blade of that left foot. And exhaling, coming all the way down. So this time we're going to step forward with our right foot. Inhaling to lift. Right leg steps to the top of the mat. Low lunge as you frame the front foot. Find your hips here before you sweep both arms forward and up, crescent lunge. And take as much of the bend in the back knee as you need to soften the hips here. So right hip draws back. Extending out of the fingertips, but can you relax the shoulder blades down the back? And steady your gaze, steady your breath. And then from here, we're going to rotate our back heel down onto the mat. And hands land parallel to the earth as we land in our Virabhadrasana 2. Now, if you need to shuffle around the feet, by all means, please do so. And can you extend through the fingertips and then try to hug your left shoulder blade against your spine? Turning your gaze past your right fingertips. And then as you inhale, start to straighten through your right leg. Arms reach up overhead. Gaze starts to follow the fingertips. And then exhaling, re-bending the right knee. Hands land parallel to the earth. 2 more times. Inhaling to lift. And exhaling, find a bit more depth in the pose as you come down. Last time, inhaling to lift. This time, right toes turn in. Exhaling to fold, bringing the hands down onto the mat. And just like any forward fold, a little bit more weight into the toes. An option to walk the hands in line with the arches of the feet if you have the space. And take 2 full rounds of breath here. And inhaling, halfway lift. Walking the hands back towards the top of the mat, swiveling on the feet, and stepping back into a downward facing dog. And just allow yourself to arrive back in the pose here. And then bringing the feet together. Rising high up onto the toes, left leg lifts towards the sky, 3-legged dog. And start to draw the knee in towards the chest, shoulders land over the wrists for a hover. And taking the leg up and back, 3-legged dog. And drawing the knee in on the exhale breath, really trying to hug the knee tight towards the torso. Last time, taking the leg up and back. Drawing the knee in towards the chest. 3-legged dog. And bending the knee, yawning the hips open here. As if coming into wild thing, slowly start to flip over. Soften the hips down onto the mat. Left arm sweeps behind you, right arm hooks to the outside of your left leg. And inhaling to lengthen, and exhaling to twist. Just softly rinsing out the spine. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling to twist just a little bit deeper here. 1 more full round of breath. And slowly start to unravel the body. Right arm sweeps to the top of your mat. Left arm reaches up, inhaling to lift the hips up, rolling onto the blade of the right foot. Exhaling to lower the hips down. 2 more times, inhaling to lift up. Really press through that right hand, exhaling to soften the hips. Last time, this time we're going to step, inhaling to lift. Look to the top of the mat, step with your left foot, low lunge. Find your hips and then sweeping both arms by the ears, crescent lunge as you rise all the way up. And really try to press the sole of the left foot down into the mat, as if you're trying to press the top of your left thigh up towards the ceiling. Drawing the navel in and up through the crown of the head. And drawing that left femur bone back in towards the hip. And steady your gaze here. And keeping the bend into the front knee, we're going to rotate the back heel down onto the mat. Hands land parallel to the earth, Virabhadrasana 2. And just making sure the front knee is not falling too far inwards, if anything slightly outwards. And squeezing the belly button in towards the spine. And just notice where your weight is distributed. If it's too much into your front foot, try to press the blade of the back foot down into the mat. Can you squeeze your right shoulder blade against your spine? And then on the inhale breath, start to straighten through your left leg. Arms reach up. Gaze starts to follow the palms. And exhaling, bending deep into the front knee. And inhaling to lift up. Exhaling to bend hands, land parallel to the earth. Last time, inhaling to lift. Left toes turn in. Hands come down onto the mat. And we're going to stay in a halfway lift, and we're just going to add a bit of movement here. So take a deep bend into your right knee, shifting your hips over. Keep the left leg straight. And then coming back through to center, taking a deep bend into your left, moving to the other side. So you decide how deep you want to come down, if you want to stay a bit higher. We're working our way up towards Skandasana here. Maybe you find a bit more depth in the stretch. And then eventually we're going to drop over towards our right hand side. So take a deep bend into your right knee. Option to stay upright and proud in your Skandasana, or slowly come all the way down. And then coming into your expression of the pose, maybe take the arms out wide into wings, maybe come into a bind, and catching your left wrist. If you're taking a hold of the bind, try to open the chest up towards the ceiling as you draw your left shoulder down the back. One more full round of breath here. If you're in the bind, slowly releasing the bind, hands come back down onto the mat, lifting the hips up as we change to the other side. So take a bend into your left knee. Option to stay further upright or slowly lower all the way down. Option to take the arms up, coming into a half bind, coming into a full bind here. If you're coming into a bind, taking a hold of the right wrist. And slowly releasing any grip. Hands come back down, halfway lift. Walking the hands to the top of the mat, stepping back, downward facing dog. We'll bring the feet together and maybe walking them a foot's length closer. Rising high up onto the toes, bend into the knees, look forward, step or jump through. We'll bend the legs here. Bring the shins parallel to the earth. Option to take a hold of the thighs, or option to extend the arms forward. And on the exhale breath, we're going to lower down to a low boat. Legs are hovering, upper back is hovering. And then inhaling to rise up, high boat. Lowering down on the exhale breath. Inhaling to rise all the way up. 2 more times. Lowering down. Inhaling up. Last time. Rising all the way up. Crossing the ankles, jumping back, stepping back. Chaturanga. The inhale will bring you up to your back bend. And then stepping back, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts towards the sky, 3-legged dog. Stepping it through on the exhale breath, crescent lunge. And start to straighten through your front leg. Back heel finds the mat, Skandasana to the back of the mat. Really nice, Sasha. Inhaling to rise up, crescent lunge. Back heel finds the mat, warrior 2. And flipping the front palm, reversing your warrior, opening through the chest. Hand comes down onto the mat, moving through a vinyasa of your choice. Downward facing dog. The left leg lifts towards the sky. Stepping it through on the exhale breath, crescent lunge as you rise all the way up. Back heel finds the mat, Skandasana to the back of the mat. Take a deep bend into your right knee. And inhaling to rise up, crescent lunge. Exhaling Virabhadrasana 2. Flipping the front palm, reversing your warrior, opening to the chest. And hands come down, just moving straight back into a downward facing dog. So we're going to mix it up a little bit this time. Right leg lifts. Bending the knee, yawning the hips open. Option to flip over into Wild Thing if it's in your practice. Really opening to the chest. And then look forward, step forward with your right foot. Low lunge. Skandasana to the back of the mat as you exhale. And then we're going to land forward, Anjaneyasana, low lunge, left knee finds the mat. Hands come down, framing the front foot. Lifting up the back knee, pyramid pose. Hips move back. And can you see if you can point your tailbone towards the back of the mat, while the crown of the head draws forward. And then look forward, take a deep bend into your right knee, standing splits to the top of the mat. Knee in towards the chest, rounding through the spine here. And inhaling to rise up, standing splits. Back heel finds the mat, Virabhadrasana 2 as you land. And flipping the front palm, nothing fancy, reversing your warrior, opening to the side body. Hands come back down. Stepping back, downward facing dog. And dropping the elbows down onto the mat. Coming into a dolphin pose here. We won't be here very long. Just pressing evenly through the forearms. Fingers are spread wide onto the mat. You might need to bend the knees a little bit or maybe walk the feet a little bit closer. But keep lifting up out of the shoulders. Keep squeezing the belly button in towards the spine. And then look forward, take a deep bend into your knees, press forward plank pose. Moving through a flow. Downward facing dog. Left leg lifts. Wild Thing as you flip. Flipping over with control, really press through that right hand. And then look towards the top of the mat, step forward with your left foot with control. Skandasana to the back of the mat. Anjaneyasana, right knee finds the earth. Hands come down on the exhale breath, lift the hips up and back, pyramid pose. And putting the hips towards the back of the mat. And then look forward, take a deep bend into your left knee, right leg lifts, standing split to the top of the mat. Knee in towards the chest, rounding through the spine. And taking the leg up and back. Last time, drawing the knee in. Standing splits as you open. And then back heel finds the mat, Virabhadrasana 2 as you windmill the arms open here. And just from here, flipping the front palm, reversing your warrior, opening through the chest. And hands come back down. Pressing back, downward facing dog. Forearms come down onto the mat. And take a deep bend to the knees, look forward, press forward, plank pose. Moving through a Vinyasa. Or meeting in a downward facing dog. Walking the hands back towards the feet. And with our peace fingers, we're going to wrap them around our big toes here. Maybe a slight micro bend of the knees if you need. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhaling to fold, bending the elbows out. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can place the palms underneath the soles of the feet. Walking the toes all the way up towards the wrist here. Can you breathe down the back of your thighs? Releasing any grip. Walking the hands back to a downward facing dog. And just stretch it out here just for a few rounds of breath. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to lower the forearms down onto the mat, coming back into our dolphin pose. Now the option is to stay here today. If you like to challenge yourself, we're going to raise our left leg up towards the sky. And you don't have to land the pincher pose, but if you'd like to do some kicks, we're going to kick for the count of 5, for 4, keep pressing through the shoulders, for 3, for 2, for 1. Slowly coming down. We'll drop the knees down onto the mat, coming into a quick child's pose here, extending the arms behind you. Just let the shoulders soften towards the mat. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to extend the arms back down onto the mat, tucking the toes under, downward facing dog. So we're going to drop the elbows down onto the mat, coming to our final side of our dolphin, our favorite pose here. We're going to raise the right leg up towards the sky. Now the option is to stay here if you wish, or if you want to kick up into pincher, or do 5 kicks for the count of 5. For 4, nice work Sasha. For 3, for 2, for 1, slowly coming down, child's pose, arms extend behind you. Nice work. Always coming back to the breath. Sometimes the breath can get away from us like a wild horse in those challenging poses. Just feel the ribs expand across the back as you breathe in. And the chest to soften as you breathe out. And slowly start to rise up to a kneeling whenever you're ready. And just take the legs out in front of us. We'll take the right leg out towards the right hand side. The sole of the left foot comes in towards the inner thigh. Now option to turn the chest and just take a hold of the shin, the ankle or the foot. If you like to go a little bit deeper today, we're going to drop the right elbow to the inside of the right knee. And we're going to take a reverse grip here, so fingers underneath the sole of the foot, thumb on top of the foot. Left arm can wrap around the back, or if you want to reach over the head, taking a hold of the outside of your right foot, and then try to revolve the chest up towards the ceiling here. Really start to slow down the breathing. Inhaling to slowly rise all the way up, releasing any grip. Right leg comes in, left leg goes out. So option just to turn the chest and take a hold of the left leg, any which way it's comfortable. Or option to drop the left elbow to the inside of the left knee, reverse grip, fingers underneath the sole of the foot, thumb on top. Right arm, option to wrap around the back or reaching over the head, taking a hold of the outside of the left foot. Wherever you are, we're going to take 5 full rounds of breath here. One more full round of breath. And slowly start to rise all the way up. Please make your way back into a downward facing dog. And lifting the right leg up towards the sky here. And as you start to draw it in towards the chest, we're going to drop the shin behind the hands. So right knee behind right wrist, right foot somewhere behind left wrist. We're going to drop the back knee down onto the mat. Now if you need any support, you can place it underneath your right hip here. An option to stay proud and upright, or lowering down onto the forearms. Maybe the forehead comes all the way down. If you want to work into a back bend today, you can rise back up. And the option is to take mermaid or option to take king pigeon. It's in your practice. And just play around with it if you're moving through any back bends. It's okay if you fall out of the pose, or maybe one side's more open than the other. If you've taken a hold of the foot, no slingshots, we'll just softly let go of the leg, and then we'll lower down onto the mat. And bring the hands back underneath the shoulders if you're all the way down. Lifting up the back knee, stepping back into your downward facing dog. And the option is to pedal out the feet left and right here, or moving through just a really slow flow. Really try to slow it down. Left leg lifts, and then changing to the other side, so left knee behind left wrist, left foot somewhere behind the right wrist. And dropping the back knee down, make the pose really long here. Option to use the prop underneath your left hip this time. And then coming into your expression of the pose, maybe it's here, maybe you start to lower all the way down. If you're moving through a back bend today, we're going to rise up. So option to come into king pigeon, option to come into mermaid. Just having a bit of fun with it, not taking it too heavy. Very light-hearted here. If you take in the back bend, just slowly releasing the leg. And slowly start to lower down. And hands are back underneath the shoulders. Making your way back into a downward facing dog. An option to move through one more final flow here. And dropping the knees down onto the mat. And then just walk the hands forward, forward, forward. Bring the forehead down, coming into Anahatasana, melting heart or puppy pose. If you're quite open in the shoulders, you can bring the chin down onto the mat. And just try to keep the hips over the knees here. You want to imagine with every exhale, your chest is sinking towards the earth. As if you are softening into the pose. And then looking forward, slowly start to slither down onto your belly. I'm going to roll over onto the back. And coming into our final pose, taking the feet really wide. Allowing the shoulder blades to draw away from each other. And just allowing the back body to sink down into the mat. The eyes melt deep into the skull. Unclenching the jaw, relaxing the tongue. And thank you for joining me today. Have a beautiful shavasana. Namaste.